stakeholders, coaches, governors, and general managers. Those are the people calling all the shots. What actually happens is that we have a competition committee for stakeholders, coaches, governors, and general managers, and that competition committee is the committee that dictates the state of the game. Officiating in the WNBA became as hot button of an issue as any. Heated debates surrounding the league's physicality dominated the headlines, particularly when Indiana Fever star rookie Caitlin Clark was subject to several intentional fouls. The referees who were refereeing the Fever and Liberty game, that one of the referees seems like his only experience was actually refereeing high school games.
If the WNBA is not rigged, they're doing a great job of making it look like it's rigged. Because if you guys didn't see the referees literally, they made a bad call. And if you guys have ever played sports, you know that like when a referee knows they've screwed up, they will do everything they can to not talk to the players. They are running away from the Indiana Fever players. As you can see, like it's not just Caitlin Clark, it's Sophie Cunningham. And he's like, no, I'm not looking. No. And you know bad refs, because again, I live in a country where there are good refs and the good refs know who they are, but the standard of refereeing is absolutely shocking. And like I've seen referees be talking to coaches, and then mid-conversation, just when they know they're in the wrong, mid-conversation just turn around and start ignoring players. If it wasn't for the fact that the WNBA is a professional sports league, this would be funny if the WNBA was not a pro sports league. Straight up, it would be funny.
We're working with WNBA owners that also own NBA teams, and then more broadly, the NBA owners on what the right valuation of WNBA teams are going forward, what the best way is to operate that league. It's very integrated now with the NBA. There's aspects over time under Commissioner Engelbert's direction where they're still fairly integrated. They share the same office space with the NBA, but under her direction, we've added some separate departments, like for example, where they're doing their own marketing right now. They have their own basketball operations department. So it's a balance of things, but I'd say we're collectively looking at all those issues, figuring out the right way to operate going forward.
So this is where I'm really speaking from, and that was very, very damaging for me. And so I'm not, I'm only using that as a reference, but that's really where I'm coming to now, and that's where I'm speaking from. Back then as a player, I couldn't see what I can see now. Now I'm a tired couch potato, so I'm observing the game in a whole new light. And I really feel like this is an important message for me to submit. I just feel like I need to create this PSA before I continue with my commentary, which I will continue. In the NBA, I see how much the officials, the officiating, controls everything. It's the most critical aspect of the game. It shouldn't be, but it is. It's the most absolute critical component of wins and losses determined in the NBA. And I wish now the same thing that I wished back then for myself, which was that there was a way to remove this bias from the officiating. I wish that it could be more fair. How can it be more fair?
Kelsey Plum is pissed off. And she's pissed off because she's not getting the foul calls that she believes other players in the league are getting. And let's go to the tape. I want you to see this because I love it when an athlete gets to the point of righteous indignation. When an athlete says, I'm going to be fined, and I realize that, and I don't care. I got to get this off my chest. I'm ready to listen. And believe me, Kelsey Plum has some things to say.
I understand this, but I drive more than anyone in the league. So to shoot 6 free throws, it's absurd. And I got scratches on my face, I got scratches on my body, and these guards on the other team get these ticky-tack fouls, and I'm sick of it. I get fouled like that every possession. Rikki gets fouled like that in the post all the time, and they don't call it. 6 free throws. I'm playing 40 minutes, touching the paint almost every play is absurd. I'll get fined for that, and that's fine, but and I needed to make more shots, late game, but they're fouling the out of me every single play.
They're fouling the shit out of her on every single play. Scratches on my face, scratches on my body. The other team gets these ticky-tacky foul calls. She said she prays before the game. She's nice to the referees. What does this woman have to do? She's a former #1 overall pick in the WNBA. She's a former 6th woman of the year. 3-time All-Star. Kelsey Plum, I don't know. Some people are reading in between the lines on this about her complaints about the officiating. Is there more to it? Is she trying to make a bigger statement about a league-wide problem? I don't know.
Adam Silver just confirmed what fans have been whispering about for months, and now it's official. There is a list, a real documented list of WNBA referees allegedly paid off under Cathy Engelbert's leadership. And this isn't just rumor or speculation anymore. This is exposure. Silver dropped the bomb during a press briefing that sent shockwaves across the entire sports world. According to the league's findings, multiple referees were compensated through unofficial channels, and these payments were tied directly to game-altering decisions. This wasn't just about bad calls or missed fouls. It was about referees being incentivized, rewarded for decisions that aligned with what insiders are calling league optics. Silver didn't explicitly say Cathy Engelbert handed out the money herself, but he didn't have to. He made it crystal clear. Under her watch, a system was in place, one that quietly rewarded certain referees for making calls that fit the WNBA's preferred narrative.
I think that I have a huge passion for the game of basketball. I have a huge passion for women's leadership. And I think, I'm really excited to be entering into the WNBA commissioner role as a real platform for all of these players, the owners, the whole basketball ecosystem, quite frankly, to drive it, to the next level. Clearly, the biggest opportunities for the league are to enhance the fan experience, the player experience, for there to be a recognition of how important a time in women's leadership and the W's role in that. So this is just such a great time for everyone to rally around these WNBA players, attend the games, sponsor the WNBA, use it as part of your women's leadership platform. I think there's so much potential upside. I'm very excited.
The impact was immediate and devastating. Every missed foul, every questionable technical, every no call that fans once brushed off as human error now carried the stench of deliberate manipulation, and the fallout, it hit fast and hard. Players were stunned. Coaches stayed silent, but their body language said everything. Former refs and retired league officials began speaking out, some for the very first time. Silver's revelation shattered the silence. What was once nothing more than backroom whispers had officially entered the public spotlight. Journalists demanded the list. Fans dug through past games, clips, and stats, trying to connect the dots. Soon names began spreading online, through message boards, social media threads, and deep within league circles. None were officially confirmed. But one thing became clear. These weren't just any referees. They were the same officials assigned to the WNBA's most high-stakes games over the past 2 seasons. And there was one thing they all had in common.
We're obviously marketing around all of our players, but I think Caitlin's lifting everybody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Our arenas are packed, our viewership. This is a key part of why I was hired, is to look at how to bring in new viewers, new fans, the demographic. We're one of the most diverse demographics in sports, both on the court and now our viewership.
Yeah. It rocks, by the way, when you're in the stadium. We went and loved.
There were patterns, missed calls, strange whistles, and most damning of all, outcomes that always seemed to lean one way, especially when a certain team, player, or league narrative was on the line. The media exploded. Sports radio ran entire segments asking just how deep this scandal went. Talk shows opened with headlines questioning Cathy Engelbert's future. Some analysts called it shocking. Others said it was only a matter of time, but everyone agreed on one thing: the integrity of the game had been compromised. Silver's internal review revealed that the payment system wasn't obvious. It was disguised. Discretionary perks, travel bonuses, performance incentives, but these weren't rewards for making the right call, and they were tied to how tightly refs controlled the game and how well those games aligned with the league's preferred storylines. And right at the center of it all was Caitlin Clark. The moment she stepped into the WNBA, everything changed. She brought the spotlight, filled arenas, broke viewership records, but with that spotlight came pressure. And now, fans were asking the uncomfortable question: did the league turn that pressure into a target? Silver's confirmation of a real referee list reframed Clark's entire rookie season. All the no calls, the constant contact, the hard fouls with no whistle. It suddenly didn't feel like bad luck. It felt intentional. Investigators say officials on that list had been briefed before key games. Internal memos were sent urging refs to keep things balanced and to avoid giving too much advantage to any one player. Sounds reasonable on paper, but in action, it meant something else entirely. Refs were allegedly warned that letting Clark draw too many fouls would tilt the competition. They were told to avoid games where her performance relied too heavily on whistle stoppages. But when you're getting bumped on nearly every possession and the whistle never comes, that's not balanced. That's silencing a star and the list. It reportedly showed that the refs who followed these directives the most were the ones being rewarded. The ripple effects touched every level of the league. Media outlets began tracking every game Clark played under those referees. They compared foul counts, free throw attempts, and outcomes. A pattern formed. Clark's scoring dipped, the games grew more physical, and the calls, they disappeared. Even former players started speaking out, saying they'd seen it happening. Some admitted this wasn't the first time directives had come down from the top, but the difference now, there was proof, receipts, documentation. Adam Silver didn't just confirm suspicions, he kicked off a full-blown crisis. The WNBA scrambled to respond. A statement was released promising fairness, transparency, and accountability. But fans weren't buying it anymore. Not after what they'd seen. Not after watching Clark get hacked night after night with no protection, and now knowing why. Through it all, Cathy Engelbert stayed silent. No personal statement, no press conference. But league insiders say she had already been fully briefed on the investigation's findings. She may not have written the checks. She may not have emailed the referees directly, but the culture, the system, the incentive structure, that was hers. Silver confirmed the list had been kept internally for over 2 years. It was maintained by senior league personnel, used to track which referees were performing in alignment with league expectations. In other words, it wasn't just known, it was monitored. But here's the truth that hit hardest. The investigation revealed those so-called expectations weren't about accuracy. They were about control. Games were expected to follow a specific arc. Blowouts? Bad for business. One player dominating, even worse. The league didn't want chaos, they wanted a script. And so, the list wasn't created to punish bad officiating. It was created to reward obedience. That revelation landed like a gut punch. Suddenly, every tight finish, every missed foul, every controversial whistle wasn't just a mistake, it was part of the plan. Fans began to question it all. How many playoff outcomes were real? How many games were lost, not because of poor play, but because of biased whistles? And when trust cracks in a league built on competition, it doesn't bend, it breaks. Adam Silver, normally calm and calculated, didn't hold back. He admitted the league faced a massive crisis. He promised independent oversight, third-party audits, and full transparency moving forward. But he also confirmed one chilling detail. That list existed because someone gave the order. Silver didn't name names, but he didn't have to. Everyone knew Cathy Engelbert wasn't just under scrutiny anymore. She was under full-scale investigation. The pressure exploded. This wasn't about optics or PR anymore. The survival of the WNBA was at stake. That list Adam Silver exposed, it wasn't just names. It was a timeline of manipulated moments, compromised games, and broken trust. For weeks, reporters camped outside league offices. Every move Engelbert made or didn't make was dissected, but she stayed silent. No interviews, no statements, just absence. And her silence only added fuel to the fire. Meanwhile, former referees started coming forward. Some offered sworn affidavits, others turned over emails and private game notes. One official described a chilling meeting. He was shown clips of Caitlin Clark taking contact and was told, "Don't fall for that, let it play out." The message was subtle, the impact massive. Clark's treatment started to look like punishment, not for dirty play, but for being too good, too fast. The same rookie who was elevating the entire league was suddenly being targeted by it. Insiders say Engelbert's office became obsessed with narrative balance. They didn't want any one player to appear untouchable, even if that one player was carrying the league on her back. In a league that prides itself on teamwork, they feared the spotlight had become too bright. So instead of raising others up, they dimmed the light, and that's what made the referee list so damaging? It proved this wasn't a passive mistake. It was active, organized, strategic. Refs who followed the tone, as one internal memo put it, were rewarded with high-profile matchups, playoff assignments, and bigger bonuses. Others quietly removed from the spotlight. The effect on Caitlin Clark became impossible to ignore. During the stretch of games most heavily officiated by refs on that list, Clark drew less contact calls, got fewer free throws, and took more hits than anyone in the league. Game film showed arm slaps, body checks, jersey grabs, and the whistle silent. And all the while, the league just watched. The public responded fast. Fans launched online campaigns demanding Engelbert be removed. Social media exploded with hashtags. Merch drops were delayed. Ratings began to dip, not because Clark lost support, but because fans didn't want to support a league that punished her for being its biggest star. Sensing a complete collapse, Adam Silver called an emergency board meeting. Every team's leadership was present. Player union reps demanded answers. What they got was a decision. Effective immediately, Cathy Engelbert was placed on indefinite administrative leave, pending a full independent investigation. A temporary leadership committee, made up of 3 former league execs with no connections to the current regime, was brought in to stabilize the damage. Their mission was clear: restore trust and do it fast. When Caitlin Clark was asked to comment, she didn't lash out. No finger pointing, no outrage. Just 6 calm words that said everything. I want to believe the game can fix itself. Her response went viral, not because it was loud, but because it was honest. She wasn't asking for punishment, she was asking for fairness. Weeks later, the redacted version of the referee list was finally released. Names were blacked out, titles hidden, but the evidence was undeniable. The WNBA hadn't just ignored bias, it had enabled it, built it, protected it. Old game footage was pulled, missed calls, inconsistent whistles, strange patterns in crucial moments. All of it became part of a massive investigation, not just to expose corruption, but to tear down a broken system and rebuild it the right way. Officiating reforms came immediately. A new oversight model was introduced. Referee crews were randomly assigned and rotated. Bonus structures tied to game outcomes, gone. Instead, performance would be judged solely on accuracy, not optics. Multi-layered game reviews were made mandatory, and when Caitlin Clark returned to the court, something felt different. Her game hadn't changed, but the energy had. Referees were more alert. Calls that used to be ignored now drew whistles. Fans noticed, players noticed, and slowly, game by game, the trust started to return. As for Cathy Engelbert, her future is still in limbo. Legal teams continue digging through internal records. Messages are under review. She hasn't made a public statement, but her silence and absence has already reshaped the tone of the league. The exposure of that referee list wasn't just a controversy, it was a crossroads. The WNBA was forced to look in the mirror and decide, who are we really and who do we want to be? This time the league didn't look away, and out of all the noise, one truth rose above everything else. The players, especially Caitlin Clark, showed they weren't just elite athletes. They were leaders, fighting to protect the future of their sport and demanding the game be played with the fairness it deserves.